All right. Well, the two of us, Kathy Graham and myself, were here today. Myself is on the top. I'm Adrienne Montgomery, a managing partner of ERP VAR, and Kathy Graham there is on the bottom. We have been working in the ERP software industry for, as you can see, over 18 years. So we have a lot of experience working with ERP VARs. And since 2012, we started ERPVAR.com. And the purpose of ERPVAR.com is to build a community of ERP VARs so that your expert knowledge can be shared through our network of ERP VAR social media profiles. So as you can see, we both have over 18 years of experience. Kathy started at Sage in 1997. To 2005, and then she went to Avalara from 2006 to 2008, Intuit from 2008 to 2012, and myself worked at DeRosa Mangold Consulting from 2005 to 2009. I started my own company as sales and marketing outsourcing for ERP VARs in 2009 when I thought of, it would be great to get everybody together in one common community to help one another leverage each other's expert knowledge via a platform for guest blogging, where we can syndicate that expert knowledge through our network of ERP VARs, and that's what we've been doing from 2012 to now. And as you can see, here's some of our well-known clients that have found a lot of success with us. And Kathy, would you like to add anything to this slide?
No, it's great to see some familiar faces out there on the attendee list, and we hope this presentation is helpful for you in your marketing efforts, and we're looking forward to furthering conversation after this presentation.
And Buck, could you just give us a brief history of your experience and social media and HubSpot?
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet everybody or be with everybody today. Again, my name is Buck Flather. I'm over at HubSpot. Adrienne, we were chatting earlier in the call, and she asked how many folks were at HubSpot, and we actually just broke the 1,000 folks at HubSpot mark, and which was pretty fun. I was number 16 at the company, so seeing it kind of come from that, kind of a very startup-y feel to now we're a publicly traded company has been really fun to see. But certainly, social media, inbound marketing as a whole, and social media being a part of inbound marketing has been a key component to really helping HubSpot really drive engagement out there with the content that we're putting out. And it's been a really, really nice venue for us to track and really test things out and see how things work and resonate with our target audiences. So some good things to take away from it, and looking forward to the discussion.
And didn't you guys just recently IPO, Buck, at HubSpot?
Yep, back in September timeframe we IPO'd, and it's been going very, very well. On the Dow Jones, it's Hubs, HUBS, so it's fun to see that go in the right direction, which is great.
Especially when you have thousands and thousands of shares, right?
I wish.
Kathy, you have the floor.
No, I just want to start off reminding people that the reason we have Buck on the call is ERPVAR started 3 years ago with our website, ERPVAR.com, and we do use HubSpot as our platform for our whole website. So the things we'll be talking about and the data that we share is all based on the data we use internally, which is HubSpot. So that's why we have Buck on the call. And I just wanted to say that we do have a few existing clients on the call, so I'm going to ask you all to interact as much as possible. Caroline, I'm just going to call a few names out. Cliff, we've got Lisa, a few other names out there. So feel free to chime in, folks, who have worked with us in the past and those who haven't. We look forward to your questions.
And Rick and Sandy, I know that Rick has some color commentary at times, so we'd love to hear uh, crack a smile a few times. I know Rick is really good at that. So anyway, we'll get to the agenda here. Get all content creation employees on the same page. So that's the first step we'll be talking about. Using LinkedIn to facilitate an industry community. LinkedIn is by far the most popular social media that we use with ERP VAR that causes traffic to come back. We can see that LinkedIn is a super successful medium for ERP related content. So we also want to monitor and respond to each social media post. In social media, it's really important to respond when people comment on your blogs or comment on a question that you asked or a comment that you made. If you don't respond, then you're missing that opportunity to nurture that relationship. And then share your company culture and personality. We'll be talking a lot about that. And then using social media analytics to measure your results and seeing what is the outcome from a visitation standpoint and from how many interactions that you have and how many interactions you responded to, all kinds of analytics to measure your social media results. So we really need to get all content creation employees on the same page. So that means having that consistent social messaging across all of your company's social media channels, your LinkedIn company page, your Twitter profile, your Facebook, making sure that you have that consistent messaging that people will respond to and resonate in your target market. So having the employees understand, your company culture and understand your company personality, and making sure that your company offers, like whether you're having a webinar or you're syndicating a white paper or a blog, just making sure all the employees are on the same page when they're distributing that information is important. Buck, would you have anything to add there from a HubSpot standpoint?
Well, a few things, right? Certainly, if you're leveraging HubSpot, we have a way to aggregate all of your employees' social media accounts and be able to push out that message to your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter profile. So it makes it very easy in that instance. If you're not on HubSpot, you should definitely look at something like a Hootsuite, TweetDeck. These types of tools and solutions really help you to do this in an efficient way, what Adrian was just talking about. So really look at some functionality that can allow you to not have to log in separately to LinkedIn and then come over to Twitter and come over to Facebook and Google Plus or all these things. There's tools that can really help you to do that in an automated fashion and help you spend your time more efficiently.
So yeah, having those call to actions created and knowing what landing pages correspond with those call to actions and crafting social medias that link to the same offer landing page, but there might be varying copy, but it's consistent. Some of those things can be helpful, but just making sure the employees are understanding that you're trying to impress upon a message to your audience, and it should be consistent so the audience can get it and rinse and repeat and just get it in front of people as many times as possible from that standpoint, especially in our ERP market, because sometimes the information that we're syndicating out there is a little bit more complex. So it takes a little bit for the audience to understand exactly what we want them to understand. So it might take you, 3 to 5 times of the same type of message to the same groups on LinkedIn or the same social profiles to get your message across.
Yeah, I think there it's what's really important to keep folks on the same page, right, is some form of a content calendar, right? So that if you are trying to really target a specific area of interest that you really want to explore and kind of pull up to the top, making sure that people's social media messages that they're putting out there on behalf of the company are, kind of all along the same theme. So creating a content calendar can really be effective in that instance as well.
And we'll go to the next point. So using LinkedIn to facilitate an industry community, we've found that LinkedIn is extremely helpful when there are groups out there that cater to the type of content we want to push. So like accounting software related groups. We do lots of accounts receivable type content, so we belong to lots of accounts receivable type groups. We do food and beverage, lots of content with food and beverage, so we want to belong to food and beverage type groups. The types of audiences in LinkedIn that will consume your information and find it useful, and then also comment and share it as well. So you can get interaction going on a compelling topic. So some of those LinkedIn groups have thousands and thousands of people. And we see in our analytics that we get hundreds of people coming back to our website, clicking on the link when we send that blog to those groups. They come back to the blog and they read the blog, and then we also see for those companies that we manage the HubSpot for, we can see that they're going to the actual author of the blog from the company group or from the group, the regular just generic group on LinkedIn. We can see that they're completing call to action forms, that it's working because we're posting the information to the right folks on LinkedIn.
So, Adrian.
Kathy.
Yes, hi. So we sometimes get partners who are trying to justify having a blogging effort versus just working on their web pages internally for their own company website. And I think the thing to add here is if you, let's say you want to focus on ERP manufacturing or manufacturing software for ERP, whatever your keyword is. Let's say you want to focus on manufacturing. You can go ahead and spend your time building a manufacturing site on your web page and name it with a keyword that you want to have people find you. But when you build a blog with that same keyword, let's say it's ERP manufacturing software, the fact that you can take that blog and circulate it through social media, through LinkedIn groups, through Twitter, through Facebook, through G+, that blog moves around and circulates, whereas your own website page, now it's really great to do both. So if you're going to focus on ERP manufacturing software, for instance, you want to build a page on your website with that keyword and then also blog about it to reinforce that your company is about manufacturing software. But the difference is your web page just sits still. It just sits on your website and doesn't go anywhere. So if people come to your website, great, they may find you. But when you write a blog about it, that is the vehicle that moves through social media and directs people back to your ERP manufacturing software website. So that's the point of blogging is your website pages sit there, your blogs move around through social media, and then direct traffic back to your site, telling people this is what you're all about. So that's the point I just wanted to reinforce.
And I would like to That's a great point, Kathy. I'd like to elaborate a little bit on that and some experiences that we've had and what's the result of that. So, for instance, there's been a blog written on our website by E2B Technologies, and I think it's gotten more visits than any other blog, thousands and thousands and thousands of visits. And the reason it has thousands and thousands of visits is because we initially sent it out through our network of social media profiles, and we sent it out to the right types of groups, and it was seen by the right types of people because there's so many people who saw it, and it was, I guess, found compelling by those right people, and they repurposed that blog, or they put links in their own blogs, and one of the websites is Tech Target, and I think another website was Find Accounting Software. They felt this blog was so compelling when they saw it in our wide reach of social media that they wanted to point back to that blog and reference it on their own website. So now that blog continues to get so many hits from Google, Bing, and all Tech Target and Find Accounting Software, and it's getting so much traffic because it's now deemed popular because these other websites picked it up. But if it was just on E2B Technologies website, it would have had less of a chance to be seen by that wide community that included these important people that decided they wanted to repurpose or reference the information on their websites. So it's not only important to participate in social media and syndicate your blogs, but it's also important that the content be compelling so that large authoritative websites like Tech Target will want to reference the material in their material because it gives them even more authority for the topic of discussion. So that's just one point of success that we've had. And Buck, I'm sure you have some elaboration to that.
Yeah, there's a ton of success that HubSpot's had with it, but just put a little analogy around it, right? Your content that you're creating through a blogging process, which is kind of the easiest way to get it out there. Think of that's kind of the fuel in the engine, right? And think about your social media really, pushing that social media that message out there and that content out there. That's kind of like the turbocharger in the engine, right? So you're really trying to leverage your social media reach to get further visitors, further eyeballs, further people to consume that content. And then as Adrian and Kathy had just mentioned, really that in and of itself just widens that reach further and further. So you're using the social media reach to really help you to leverage your overall content strategy, which I think is really key.
So that blog received over 13,600 views. Other blogs that we've had posted on our site for partners who participate with us get into the thousands. So the reason ERP VAR was created was to leverage the community. We blog every day, and we guest blog from partners who provide us with content. So right now we're getting over 10,000 unique visitors to our website, and that may or may not be as much traffic as you get with your own website. So the idea is with ERP VAR, if you participate with us, you're getting more and more visitors. We grow every month with our traffic, but you're adding to the blogs that you post on your site. You're re-syndicating through us, and we go through a whole rewriting process to avoid for duplication, and those blogs get circulated through our 400 partners that have included our their social media profiles. So they've given us permission to share those blogs through their LinkedIn groups. So when you share a blog with ERP VAR and we post it on our site, we have the ability to give that blog attention to other LinkedIn groups that you or I do not belong to, but another partner that participates with us might belong to a manufacturing group and get that blog extra exposure. So that's where we utilize social media to share the blog and get your blog more exposure, pointing back to your website with the keywords that you want to focus on. So that's really been the secret sauce that we use within HubSpot and the tools that HubSpot gives us to give your blog more exposure than any page on your website or any blog on your website. And that's just leveraging the community of ERP VAR.
Yeah, because every one of us knows something different than each other, and when we come together, and we all have our own connections. We all know people that the others don't know. So when we all get together and syndicate a message, and the same message, then we're helping each other get that message out to people that would never have seen it because they're not connected to each other. But when we send a blog out on ERP VAR, you're maximizing your reach because the ERP VARs that are helping circulate your blog have more connections or different connections than you. And you're also sending it to your connections. So it just helps everybody get together and maximize the result of writing a blog, and that's an effort in itself. So I'm going to go ahead and move on, but it's important to participate in other generic related LinkedIn groups as well that are related to accounting software or ERP software. Like Accounting Software Selection. This is a group that we manage. This is just an example that we manage over here at ERP VAR. And this has grown, I think it's right around 8,000 members now. But we started that. We started this group, from 10 members, and now it's, 8,000 members. It's still a baby when it comes to a lot of those accounting software related groups that have 60 to 100,000, 150,000 members. But this could get there. Just, the more people that are in accounting software selection, the more opportunity we're going to find people looking for accounting software, and the more interaction we'll be able to have with the audience, and the more relationships we'll be able to build. So it's really hard to do marketing and ERP all by yourself, just one company, no matter how big you are. You want to capitalize on the relationships of everybody. And so our third point here is make sure to interact with each and every social media post. So here's just an example, a screenshot of a recent post on June 13th. We just had a webinar with E2B Technologies, Avalara, and V Technologies for Starship. This is for Dynamics GP. And everybody got together to promote this webinar. E2B promoted it, Avalara promoted it, V Technologies promoted it. And when you do that, E2B promoted it to GPUG. Well, we didn't even know to promote that to GPUG. Thank you, E2B. But we all participated in this webinar to try and get as many attendees to sign up for it as possible to learn about Avalara sales tax compliance, E2B accounts receivable collections app, and Starship shipping software. And so ERP VAR promoted it, Starship promoted it, E2B promoted it, and Avalara promoted it. So when E2B went and shared this webinar, we want to respond. So we did. We responded to it, we liked it, we favorited it. Anytime you're ever mentioned in social media, it's important to respond. And Buck, did you have anything else to add there? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I think it's just really important, one, to have some functionality, whether it's like a Hootsuite or whatever it is, to help you aggregate and stay on top of these things and be able to do it all from one place. And I think that's what you guys do really, really well at ERP, is to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks, right? And that's key, because you want to, the whole purpose of social media is to really, in essence, be having a conversation with somebody, right? You want to take it from your static website to, hey, I'm out there, I'm putting some information, some content out here, I want to see what you think about it. When you offer me up your thoughts, I want to say something back, I want to comment, and have it be a two-way street, not just, hey, here's what we think, and now we turn our backs on it. So really, really important piece of information to make sure that you're staying on top of things. And it's not going to happen right away, right? People aren't going to just all of a sudden start commenting on everything that you put out there. But when they do, you want to make sure that you follow right up with it so that they feel that you are listening to them. Really.
And it's really important to be in front of your audience as much as you can. You want your picture up there like all the time, right, Buck? Like you just want, you just want to have as many messages going through social media, almost to where it's obnoxious. But if people like your messages, then that's kind of a second thought. It's great to have good messages, but it's nice to be on top of mind. And in order to be on top of mind in social media, you have to do it every day. Get your stuff out there with as much content as you can. Because, the reality of it is people are busy and they'll forget about you as soon as they see you. So don't let them forget about you.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's our fourth slide. Share your company culture. I think Avalera has done an awesome job at being the orange company. I think we all know them for orange. It gives them a lot of character. I wonder if their toilet paper in their bathroom is all orange. And on their videos, they talk about the orange. And I've met Scott McFarland, and he is, extremely outgoing and fun. And I think that the orange flavor here really exuberates the nature of this company. And Kathy, actually, you came from this company. You were one of the first employees of this company, and the orange was back then too. It was part of the first beginning, correct?
Well, I just like orange. I went to Syracuse, the Orangemen, over in New York. I live in Orange County. I went to Avalera for 3 years, and I can't say I was one of the first at Avalera, but I was about employee number 30. About 8 or 9 years ago, and they're doing great to brand themselves, and I do like orange.
It's funny. There's actually a blog post about what your company or your corporate colors are, and what actually, what state of mind goes into when somebody sees your corporate colors. And orange, HubSpot happens to be a very orange color as well. In fact, some of our T-shirts say that we bleed orange.
That's right.
But I know that orange is supposed to be a very happy, energetic, type of an environment when you have orange as your company color or in your company color. So it's an interesting read about what your company color means in terms of your culture, which is interesting.
It really
that
stands
is true.
out.
And then, having taken a few psychology courses, orange is definitely a vibrant color, which probably attracts vibrant people. And it's the same with sports fanatics who know that a black team will always outwin a white team because black is more aggressive than white. So, if you're gambling in sports, colors definitely come into play as well.
True.
And to this, I'd like to allow Buck to elaborate because HubSpot's done such a fabulous job of defining their company culture and building their character. So, Buck, I'm going to let you run through the next couple of slides. I'm going to go to the next one where you can run through all these points.
Yeah, I think this is really important, and if people haven't seen the HubSpot Culture Deck, I think it's certainly worth a download. You can just go out onto SlideShare, you just Google HubSpot, Culture Code or SlideShare Deck, and this will inevitably come up. It's gotten over 1.5 million views. been really well received, and a lot of companies have actually taken this as kind of their framework for really creating their own internal culture code. So I think it's really, really important, right? We always, if you're reading somebody's company bio, the About Us page, uh, you'll read probably 8 times out of 10, well, it's the people that make the difference at our company. Well, no kidding, that's what everybody thinks, right? But really what this culture code does is really takes that to the next level and makes sure that everybody's on the same page, right? Um, and if we think about, even just the top little line here, number one, right? We're maniacal about our mission, and we're maniacal about our metrics as well, right? The whole thing that we've been talking about, that Adrian was talking about with social media, with really all of your marketing endeavors, with your people, right? It can really all be pulled down into the numbers, and that's how we should really be thinking about things in terms of business decisions, and certainly marketing decisions nowadays can really be thought of as well, where's the data to support this claim that we should do X or Y? We really want to move away from doing things on gut feel, but really think about what the data is telling us. So measuring things like social media that we're talking about today is really important. Doing everything to solve for the company, or excuse me, for the customer, is really key, right? Being transparent. We're a publicly traded company now recently, like we talked about, and everybody at HubSpot is essentially an insider. So we're certainly not access to anything crazy that we're going to be doing mergers acquisitions wise, but just about everything that you can think about, all the information that our company is doing, a lot of the decisions that they're making is out there for everybody to see and comment on. Really, really key. I think the fifth one is super important, right? Like I just talked about, if most companies say, hey, it's the people that make the difference, well, getting a job at your company should be pretty difficult as well. HubSpot, where we hire what we like to think of as, really the brightest minds in not only the U.S., but now the world as we're expanding into other geos and things. I think that's been one of the biggest keys to HubSpot really keeping the company culture the way it's been, from when it was 16 people to now when it's over 1,000. The people are really is what makes that happen, and being able to give the people the autonomy to really make their decisions, right? One of the rules that we typically judge or rule our employees by is use good judgment, right? You've put a lot of faith, effort into hiring the right folks. Don't overburden them with a lot of rules, a lot of, hey, you have to do, it's one of the reasons actually why HubSpot doesn't have a vacation policy, right? We all are working so many hours in the day, and we're all working, from home, we're working on weekends, we're working at night when the kids go to sleep. So the whole concept of people earning 2.5 hours or 45 minutes a week or whatever it works out to be in terms of vacation was kind of crazy, right? If at HubSpot, it's use good judgment in terms of your vacation. If you need a vacation, great. Make sure you're covered. Make sure your manager knows that you're going to be out, and take it if you need it. So really, really key things. And then always be questioning things. The last one is something that is really entrenched at HubSpot. If you see something that you think can be done in a better, more efficient way, great. You can do it. Take it as your pet rock, and go on and try to tackle that idea. If it gets enough traction, great. It's gonna catch on. Management's gonna take notice, and we'll make some changes and make something happen. But I think this culture code, again, I highly encourage you to take a look at it. Go out to SlideShare and download it. It's really gotten some nice traction and some really good food for thought of how to really instill a really good, transparent, healthy, energetic culture at your company.
And
Hope I
I
didn't.
will include that too, Buck, to that point. I'll include that link to what you're referencing here in
Great.
the follow-up email.
Great.
So
Hope I
any
didn't ramble.
further on this, Buck?
No, I think that's pretty good. I hope I didn't ramble on too long. But if anybody does have questions, you could either ping Adrian or myself. She can certainly include my contact information there as well if you have any questions.
Perfect. All right, so we've done all this social media activity. What are the excuse me, what are the results? I mean, we've worked so hard and creating our blogs and participating in social media. What did it all mean? And so we really want to reward ourselves by looking at the results that we attained. So I want to just take you through this slide. It's just a screenshot of our HubSpot portal. And we have our social media set up for campaigns in our HubSpot portal. So this is just LinkedIn, but this gives you an idea of some of the blogs that we've shared through LinkedIn. And these are all blogs that have been written by our channel partners. And it just gives you an idea of how many views have come through since the beginning of the year for some of our campaigns, and the leads as a result. So we in HubSpot, you can click on these, and they all go back to contacts, and then you know what the campaign was that's related to that contact under their contact profile in HubSpot. But it's just nice to see that our activities are actually working. And the only time that we're going to see a contact in our HubSpot is if the campaign resulted in somebody filling out a form on ERP VAR's website. But most of the time, these folks that are coming here and visiting ERP VAR are going straight back to our partners' websites, and they're completing forms on the partners' websites and becoming leads for the partners because of the syndication that's happened on ERP VAR and the links in the blog pointing back to the partners' websites in the blog. So here's just a short sample of some of our partners and some of the views on LinkedIn as a result of just sharing on LinkedIn a blog. There's many, many more views total to that blog, but this was just LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to the one of the first points that we made in the discussion, right? It's you really need to be measuring everything because that's what you're going to be able to use as a gauge and a test in order for your future content and posts and things like that. You really need to make sure that it's resonating with your target audience. If it's not resonating, great. Let's make a change and go in a little bit different direction or change something up. You always need to be testing and refining what you're doing in this world for sure.
So, and in looking at this, I can see, in January we had a really good month. In March we had a really good month. In April we did. So, what were some of the blogs that were published in January, March, and April? And then I probably would want to go back and republish those blogs so we can get these numbers up. Even though we publish a blog every single day, we send a blog through social media every single day. Depending on the content that's written, it depends on how much that actually takes fire and is shared throughout social media. So it looks like some of the blogs written in May and June might have lacked some of the appeal that these blogs had in January and March. So this just gives me an idea of, what blogs I can go back to and find and drill down and maybe share those blogs again, just to keep people coming back, because really it is the blog that captures the audience. And so I just wanted to, this is our final slide here. I wanted to, in the slide portion of our presentation, I am going to take you through a little bit of HubSpot so you can see some of the social media metrics that we can analyze through HubSpot. But it's really important to build a community. And how do you build a community? That's through building relationships. And how do you build relationships? you respond and interact with people who are trying to communicate with you, or that you're trying to target to get noticed. And so it just really does take a village to build opportunity in our space. Buck, would you like to add anything to that, or Kathy?
No, I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it. Go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, I just say whether you're a company of 1 or a company of 20, the more LinkedIn groups you can belong to between your employees, I think you're maxed out with so many LinkedIn groups. I want to say 30 groups or so for your own individual profile. The more your company employees can reach out to industry-specific groups that are your target audience for your prospects, the more you can distribute content. So just leverage your employees, leverage people like ERP VAR to get your word out. And that helps really justify, what so many partners ask is, why should I spend time blogging when I have so many other things to do within my company? And I hope we address that question today, because it's all about the power of circulation with your own articles, basically reinforcing that you're the expert in this industry with this particular topic. And that the more your employees engage with social media and participate in relevant groups, the more you'll get exposure.
And then also to that point, guest blogging on sites like ERP VAR. Why do I want to write a blog and put it on ERP VAR when I could write it and put it on my site? I mean, why wouldn't I want to spend time just putting it on my site? And the answer is, you want to publish blogs on your own site, but you want to look and see where that blog will be noticed most, because you want it to be read, and you want it to take hold and take fire, and you want it to actually cause a lead to come in because of the effort you took to write that blog. So where is that blog going to be seen by the most people? Is it going to be just your site, or is it going to be on a site that gets much more traffic and is consistently publishing material? You should be consistent on your own site, but you should also participate not only on ERP VAR, but other sites as well. If you can guest blog for Sage, if you can guest blog for Microsoft, there's ERP software blog. Anya Sasursky manages that blog. That gets a ton of traffic. And it just makes sense to post your blog where it's going to get the most traction. And how does it get the most traction? Because it has an audience, and it's built an audience, and it's consistent, and the audience can count on content being published there that they want to read. So you want to make sure you're strategic in the mediums that you use to post your material. And then so here's our contact information. Go ahead, Kathy.
Oh yeah, please reach out to us with our contact information included, but also we have about 15 minutes, so please enter your questions. We'll wrap up. I'll let you wrap up, Adrian, but please start challenging us with questions. If you have them, enter them into the text or the question box or the chat, and we hope to use the remaining time to wrap up and hear some interaction from you guys.
So I would like to go over some social media interaction, some live data here that we have, and this is for the year. This is the similar screenshot that I shared on that slide in the PowerPoint slide. But we can see by far we get so much more visits from LinkedIn than we do from the other social media, because LinkedIn just allows us the capability to post our material to thousands and thousands more people than these, because we just don't have the type of followers. It's not to say Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus isn't as strong. These just cost followers, where on LinkedIn we can post our material to groups that already have thousands of followers that start interacting with our content, and that's what's caused this traffic to be so much more than the rest of the social media. And we just think that, for our type of content, business related ERP software, automating processes, LinkedIn is a better place to engage a community for that type of material. So you can see that we've received quite a few contacts from there. We don't turn our contacts into customers, so disregard that. The customers that our contacts become, they become the customers of our ERP VARs that participate with us. So whenever a contact comes in here, fills out a form, that's either affiliated with one of our third parties or it's affiliated with a local ERP partner that goes in and meets with the customer in a discovery and understands their requirements and takes them through the sales process for ERP. So we don't stay in touch with how many of those actually become customers by documenting it here. And we can also measure our social media for each individual campaign. In the campaigns area of HubSpot. And Kathy, are you monitoring the questions?
I am.
Okay. So, this just gives you an idea of one of our partners. Here's the guest blogs that they've written with us. Here's how many social media messages have shared those blogs. And here's the clicks that those blogs have received back to the blog. So Vision 33 looks like they've had 186 LinkedIn clicks. I can drill down and see which messages got the most clicks and where did they come from. So it looks like this one got 19 clicks. And it was shared to our group accounting software selection. So those 19 clicks go back to the blog, and the blog has all of these links back to the partner's website. So if the prospect in social media was interested in the content of that blog, most likely they'll go back to the partner's website and read more about the partner to see if they want to contact the partner for help. So that's the whole purpose, our purpose at ERP VAR, but I think that we're maximizing the use of social media to help get that traffic back to your website that you're looking for. And Kathy, we can go ahead and move forward with the questions. I'm going to launch some polls for the audience. If I could just ask the audience to answer a couple polls here. If you could just take a minute, are you interested in learning more about HubSpot? And go ahead, Kathy.
So Jerry just wanted to call out to the orange and blue for War Eagle. That's a team in probably near the Huntsville, Alabama area, if I know Jerry. Rick, what do you mean by weekly offer announcements? So Adrian, you touched on that, and I think when you were asking that, Rick, it was referring to being consistent, sending out messages on a routine basis so your followers on LinkedIn get used to hearing from you and they pay attention to you. So whether it's a weekly offer, meaning that there might be something informative about a new release with the ERP software that you support, some relevant topic about the industries that you serve for the software releases that are informative notifications would be helpful just to send out in social media. And then also, we don't do blogs about promotions, but if you have your own promotional announcements that you'd like to offer, if there's a quarter end or year end announcement that would be relevant to your followers. We've had a lot of success with tips and tricks. And the really cool thing with tips and tricks is you guys as ERP consultants get lots of questions, whether it's through your own interactions with customers or within your company. There's lots of questions coming in from customers about the software that you guys support. So we encourage partners to take those questions, whether you save them within an internal knowledge base where you can reference questions that come in through customers. You're obviously spending the time to answer the questions, so why not advertise that question and answer to a broader audience? Customers who might be on a particular software package, you're answering the question. You can also take that tip and trick or Q&A, write it out as a blog, but also send it out to the community websites. Like, for instance, QuickBooks has over 1 million followers who look into, actually 1 million visitors a year go to the community website for QuickBooks tips and tricks. So if you write a blog about a question and an answer that you provided to a customer, you know there's probably more customers that have that question. So when you write a blog showing yourself as the authority for that particular ERP, whether it's QuickBooks or something else, you can also take that blog, post it on your own website, and then you'll attract people who are maybe asking that question online, but also post it to the Intuit community website. You'll find that there's lots of popular questions and topics on any ERP community site published by the software publishers of the actual software. So keep in mind that tips and tricks and Q&As are really compelling blogs. You can circulate them through social media, but also post them on all the customer portals where customers go to get answers directly from the publisher. So you can post that article saying, hey, you want to know how to reverse a check? That's a really popular question. Here's a blog I wrote about it. I hope this is helpful. And that's really great for SEO and traffic. So keep in mind, tips and tricks, Q&As, great subjects for blogs, and also don't forget to post them, if you're allowed, on the publishers, the software publishers' community website.
Yeah, I think that just the big rule of thumb to always remember when you're creating things like this is always be helping, right? Just kind of that's a good rule of thumb to have. Always be trying to put yourself in the mindset of your target audience and the questions that they have and the questions that they're trying to get answers to.
And I have a perfect blog to share with you as an example, Rick, about the offer blog that you just asked about. If I could just get the audience to answer this last question, that would be great. And it's a poll up there. Are you interested in learning more about ERP VAR? Just take a moment. I see 64% have voted. Going once. Going twice. 73%. Anybody else? All right, so I'm going to close that poll down, and I'm going to share a screen that I think is an excellent example for you, Rick, that this blog was published last week. Well, it was published on May 25th, and it was shared through our extensive network of social media profiles here at ERP VAR. And this is an example of a great offer. What you need to know in 9 questions, cloud-based ERP. This got a ton of hits, and I know it converted a lot of opportunity for this partner. I think they're up to like 10 to 12 qualified leads just from sending this blog out on ERP VAR. They have this compelling call to action. You didn't know it was so compelling when you first wrote it. You just needed to try it and see if it worked. But apparently to the groups that we sent this blog to, there was a lot of interest in cloud ERP and what you need to know about it. So there was a ton of clicks back over to the partner's website here. And the partner, as you can see, has a little note here about make your ERP decision easier. And then they have a form for folks to download their free white paper. And this just really worked well. It was seamless, and it's still working today. And this is a blog that we can republish later too. But you wouldn't know that this call to action would create so much activity until you tried, but it was a really good call to action. And so this is an offer, and this is a blog that's educational with an offer in it. So are there any other questions, Kathy?
Only that blogs don't have to be perfect, and there are some people in the audience that leverage their wife or their own employees. So don't feel shy about creating content. When you send us content at ERP VAR, we often polish it up and make sure there's a keyword focus. So I would just say, you have so many ideas in your head about what might be compelling to your existing customers or for future customers. And I just try to keep a running diary of future blog topics, and when you get inspired, write it out, refer to your knowledge base, encourage your consultants to document compelling questions and answers that they already work on with customers, and build up a library. So when you do have a person that can focus on it, or you have some time yourself, hammer out a few blogs, have some people review them for you, and send them over to us. We'll get them optimized and circulate through social media. That's what we've seen has worked really well. And we just thank all the partners that have participated so far with us. We're over 10,000 visitors a month, and I think the concept of the community is really starting to prove itself after our third year in business, and we just hope to keep building on that with the participations of the partners we have, and have more leads to send out based on the efforts that we're all working on. So thank you for everyone on the call that is working with us currently.
And then just to that point, Kathy, leads to send out. So this particular example that's up on the screen now, this blog, we didn't send any leads out. They just received the leads by sending this out through ERP VAR, and we can know that they came from ERP VAR because they have something like HubSpot to track the analytics. So they know that all the traffic that they received and all the leads that they received came from ERP VAR, but we didn't touch one of those leads. We just operated as a vehicle to get the traffic back to the partner's website to fill out the form. And that's just a very important point to make, is that we're not like a find accounting software. We're not looking for lead. Well, we are looking for leads, but we're not, that's not the purpose of ERP VAR, to physically take down a company's name, phone number, requirements, and then physically send them out to the partner. Our goal is to drive traffic back to your website, drive SEO, search engine optimization, back to your website with the blogs that you write with us, so that people can, when they click on the call to action that you create on your ERP VAR blog, they can fill out your form on your website and inquire directly with you, and you have no competition from ERP VAR, because they've already forgot about ERP VAR. They just came to your website and filled out their information. And I think that's just an important note to make, because a lot of folks have the distinction that ERP VAR needs to physically send the prospects back to you, but you're going to get many, many, many more prospects as a result of your activity on ERP VAR that come directly to your website via the links that you have in the blogs. That's just a point and clarification I want to make.
Well, we are at the top of the hour, so I'm just going to let Buck and you wrap up. And any other immediate questions, please feel free to chat in your question box. We'd love to have open lines, but I think we're at the top of time, so let's wrap up. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kathy, for that. I could talk forever. I really appreciate everybody's time and spending it with us today. We're going to have one of these educational type webinars every month, and we really appreciate you attending those webinars. And we just want to help educate, what we've experienced and what we've learned, and then hopefully, the audience will also collaborate and share what they've learned, because it really takes all of us to learn from one another what's really working out there so that we can generate the opportunities to grow our businesses. And Buck, I'll let you go ahead and have your closing comments as well. Buck, are you there? We might have lost Buck. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. Oh, there you are.
I was on mute. I was chatting away there, but thank you very much, guys, so much for having me. Looking forward to next month's session.
Awesome. All right, you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.